Good day and welcome. My name is Lesroy Williams, and today we are going to be having a lively discussion on HIV and AIDS. Of course, we know December 1st is fast approaching, World AIDS Day. And we live in a world where we have to be aware of what is around us, and HIV and AIDS, we have to be aware of what is in society so we can better protect ourselves, look after our health. I have with me two distinguished persons. One of them is the National HIV/AIDS Coordinator, Dr. Matthias Offrey, and the other is Mrs. Lucine Pemberton Vaughan, who is the Health Educator Counselor within the Ministry of Health. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
It is good to have you again to speak about a very timely topic, a topic that never goes away, because HIV and AIDS still with us.
Very much so.
And as I mentioned, World AIDS Day is approaching. It's December 1st. Could you tell me what is the significance of this day? Why do we observe it?
Well, first, World AIDS Day is the oldest celebrated health emphasis day. We hear of World Cancer Day, we hear of World Diabetes Day, but World AIDS Day is the oldest and it started since 1988, and it provides three main opportunities. One, it's an opportunity to commemorate those who have died from AIDS-related illness. It also provides the opportunity to show support for those who are living and affected by HIV. And thirdly, it provides the opportunity for all of us to join in the fight against HIV and AIDS.
Right, so you're speaking here, it's not just an individual fight, but it's a collective fight.
Yes, very much so.
And so therefore all of society must join in this fight. You know, sometimes we are in a society that people say, well, oh, it's us and them. Right? It's them. And sometimes we think that we can't be affected. It cannot touch me. It cannot happen to me. And tell me a little bit more in terms of that.
Well, HIV is everybody's business because I am of the firm belief that we are all vulnerable to it. Even babies are born with HIV. And as long as you would have reached that ripened age of sexual maturity, even now 16 is now the age of consent. And we have all engaged in it at some point or another. And we only know about us 100%. And when I said we have all, most of us. And once you are engaging in certain activities, you are at risk, even the married. So we will speak more about that. And it behoves us to make it our business and do what we can to help eradicate it.
Yes. Okay, now we hear about AIDS and we hear about HIV. Now, although they are related, there's some difference between them. Could you tell us, Dr. Offrey, what is HIV?
HIV is a virus that affects the immune system and depletes the effect of the immune system. The immune system basically is there to fight against infectious diseases, anything that as a pathogen, a foreign pathogen that affects the body. So the immune system is there to fight and defend your body. So HIV, the virus, affects the immune system and deplete the effect of your immune system. And when it progresses from HIV to AIDS, AIDS itself is a manifestation of a progression of HIV, which is being your body being open to opportunistic diseases. So when your immune system is broken down, and then you can't fight other infectious diseases anymore, so your body is now predisposed to other viral infections or other infections. Then the manifestation of all those illness is what AIDS.
Right. So you basically do not die from AIDS, but you die from an AIDS-related illness. Is that what I'm hearing you saying?
Yes. So HIV, as I stated, it's just a virus. It doesn't kill you. All right, but AIDS is what kills, because when you say you die from AIDS, you die from an opportunistic disease that is a product of unresolved issue with HIV. So you will die from an illness related to what? HIV. So there are some various other opportunities that could actually, affect you. Cancer can be part of it. Tuberculosis can be part of it. So on and so forth. So many other illnesses that actually can predispose and break down your immune system. That normally your immune system would have been capable to fight it if HIV was put in check. That's why you see this awareness about HIV. Why people need to understand that HIV is not, to me, in my honest opinion, it's not a death sentence. It's not an illness to destroy you, but if it's an illness to be aware of. In medicine, we say, as I said, it's a disease that is well diagnosed, can be well treated.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, can be well put in check and in control. So if somebody is diagnosed, for example, of HIV, and you start treatment, you can actually bring down the viral load to a point that it may not even be detected, and cannot be transferred or transmitted, to other persons.
Yeah, this may seem like an oxymoron, but an HIV positive person can lead a healthy lifestyle.
100. In fact, it will be very surprising to you that most of the HIV infected persons are far more healthier than those that are not. Mm-hmm. And people feel like, if I ask you, what do you think is one of the most deadliest illness out there? People will say HIV, but HIV is far away from it. Diabetes is, hypertension is. Those are the major factors of mortality.
And cancers.
Yeah, and cancer that of mortality in the world worldwide, not just in our federation, in the world actually. And if you see that those, despite the control, it's even more rigorous to even control most of those stuff compared to HIV. That with HIV you have the treatment and assess it and bring the viral load, continue keeping yourself in check, and you'll be good to go. You can live as long as possible.
I like that, but early detection is key.
Yes.
And that's why testing is so important, because all that you would have said is true, but it would do us no good if we don't know. So that's why.
So it won't progress. It won't progress from HIV to AIDS. So if the early testing, that's why as often as possible, as we keep emphasizing that, as long as you're sexually active, it's advisable to do your test every 3 months, knowing the fact that it takes 3 months for the body to produce an antibody that can really detect if you're positive or negative. For example, let's say I have a sexual intercourse yesterday, and unprotected sexual intercourse, and then I come today to do the test, or a week after do the test. It will show negative, because it has not covered the cycle required for the body to produce an antibody to detect whether it is you're infected or not. So every 3-month testing is required.
And if not 3 months, at least once per year. Every year with your usual medical, and we encourage that.
And the very interesting thing there is that we see in our federation, a lovely country of ours, and Kitts and Nevis, the women are more driven to take their health into more consideration than men. We have more women tested. We have more women checking their health in all aspects. This is the holistic view towards it. Women check and want to know about themselves and all of this stuff. But the men are less driven to want to check. And that's why we call for everybody, male, females, to come. We always encourage the females, invite a partner to come. To come and take part in this thing. If I'm checking myself, you need to check yourself as well. Because if I check myself, no matter how often I check myself, if my partner is not checking themselves, it defeats the purpose.
Right. So You're in a very bad situation there.
Yeah.
hmm Every year we talk about HIV, we talk about AIDS, and every year it may seem like it's the same repeated stuff. It's recycled. The same things you hear over and over again. Now, this year, what is the particular focus for World AIDS Day?
The World AIDS Day theme for this year is equalize. The word equalize actually is it's an action word. It calls for action. It calls for the activity of everyone to for us to focus on a better, proper, quality fight on eradicating the virus itself, HIV. So it showcases that everybody is important in ensuring the fight of this virus. One person can do it, one sector can do it, and I feel that is a holistic approach, a multi-sectoral approach in fighting this virus. That's the only way we can really, overcome it or combat it and be successful in it. So the word itself, equalize, is equality in every aspect. Everybody's important, and it even brings us to a point of stigma discrimination. So if we discriminate, as we have stigmatized a group of persons and we discriminate them, we may discriminate them, but the fact is that the virus is going on perhaps around them. And indirectly or directly we are being affected. So it makes no sense. So this theme equalize means we need to view ourselves as equal in fighting this necessary fight and this unwanted virus that is plaguing the nation and also the world at large. So it actually has to do with two aspects, I said. Increasing the availability of quality and sustainability services to not just a group of persons, but to ensure that everybody is well served in ensuring that. And the other aspect is reforming the laws and policies that could fight against inequality and to ensure that everybody is viewed as such. Everybody is viewed as a person. Everybody is viewed as, and everybody have the access, the ability to access health and feel free enough to access healthcare in ensuring that we all are safe and sound in the Federation.
Right, of course, we know that there are some persons who are discriminated against because of who they are, their sexual orientation. And once ago, AIDS was thought of as a gay disease. How will discrimination against people of the LGBTQ, if you want to say, community, help in the fight against AIDS and
But would
HIV?
discrimination help?
How it will not help?
Okay. Well, these persons tend to be shamed, be blamed, be shunned. We talk about them, we point them out, and they are treated differently, even at some of our healthcare institutions. And these persons shy away from testing. They are afraid to come forward and admit to their partners their status. Some of them have meds and are afraid to even take them lest people realize that they are HIV positive. And you can see what that does. So it sends them underground. And it is underground they are now able to replicate and transmit. And that is why we are saying that we do not have to condone what persons are doing, but we should be able to accept everybody, knowing that we are all equals, and at the heart of stigma and discrimination is the violation of human rights. We are equals, we are free to choose our orientation. We are free to express ourselves, and we have the right to access care and services like anybody else.
Mhm.
So it behoves us to be a more accepting community. And as they say, I would like to throw in and drink some water. And you know what comes next?
Mhm. Of
What
course,
comes next?
mind your
All
business.
right.
I think the song said it all. Drink water and mind your business. But the thing is, who gives you the moral? Who places you in a moral standpoint or position? Judge. Because as the good book will say, he that feels is righteous first cast the stone. You may not have you may have a different perception on life and ideology in life. Does not mean every other person buy to that idea, but people respect the fact that you have your idea and your belief system. So why not disrespect you for who they are, and see that the bigger picture is that indirectly I will be affected. Indirectly I will be affected. In other words, I may not agree to your view, but I respect you to be who you are. In other words, that will help me help you. That would in turn help me. You see
Yes,
where it
yes,
goes.
it's a
So
ripple effect.
when we are open minded, when we are more not strict in terms of being the judge and condemn people, it gives them the opportunity to, this is me. This happened even in our homes. Some children are even very scared to even tell their parents, you know
Yeah.
what, this is me, and the parents accept them for what they are, or
Get them the
without being,
necessary help.
without judging them, without making them feel. I have come across a whole lot of persons that they felt they had to run away from home, and that affect them. And look at how the effect of stigma and discrimination, it has a psychological effect
Yeah. Lack of self worth.
greatly, and that it's greatly deplete the self-esteem. And some of them that end up running from home when they're like 15, 16, predispose them to rape.
Mm-hmm.
And even they were not HIV positive, they may be HIV positive because they ran home. They ran out of home, and then the person that took them in saw that as an opportunity to abuse abuse that person. So if you look at it without just not being myopic, you would understand that the long run there is a solution to not only them but to us as well. What the
Yeah.
future, the youth and the children in the future. So let's have a different mindset towards approaching and handling situations.
Yeah, I think that the world is, on one hand, is becoming more understanding and respectful of human rights. And on another hand, you see some extremes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we know what is going on right now, the World Cup in Qatar, the FIFA World Cup, football, and of course, one of the issues that have been very controversial. It is not football itself, but you hear people speaking about the politics surrounding the LGBT community and how they are treated, and certain laws that are oppressive to people that Qatar has, and so on. And people are told, well, keep out of the politics and focus on football and play. But at the very same time, you're talking about people. You're talking about human rights. You're talking about freedom and people not being able to freely express who they are. You hear that they can't even wear a rainbow color
Mm-hmm.
in Qatar. They will be arrested and all of that
Wow.
sort of thing at and things like that. Um, so while we have come a long way, we still have a long way to go in terms of accepting people. Right here in St. Kitts and Nevis, I mean, I think we are making some strides, but at the very same time, we are very on the ground society. And I don't think we can spend the afternoon talking about that.
I think, yeah, we were going to
You
emphasize
know.
more on that in our future meetings and also interviews. And we for the health sector, we have we provide training on workshop training on stigma and discrimination, because we are the forefront to ensure that the people are safe. They can find a safe haven to run to and say, you know what, this is me, this is what I am, this is what is bothering me, this is I am, so we can have a better way to help them. So that is a present continuous thing that would action that we will keep doing to ensure that our people, the health sector, and also the practitioners, as well as the health service providers, are informed, well educated, to really provide services that is ideal for everyone.
Yes, Doc, because you know that we took that oath that as healthcare providers that we will serve the populace regardless of religion, political affiliation,
Ethnicity,
gender, sexual orientation. So that's all that we are concerned about. Just the access, just the issue that everyone has free access to our services. And these services must be free of stigma.
Yeah, we use those two terms really, and maybe we should have defined them before we get into the whole discussion of stigma and discrimination. But what is stigma? What is discrimination?
Okay, stigma is a brand. It is how we view persons that we see different to us. It is the perception, it's a feeling, and discrimination is the act that follows that feeling. So if I feel that you are of no value, if I feel that you have no place in our society, then most naturally I would withhold jobs. I wouldn't treat you with respect. When you come to our services, I talk down to you. I disclose your status. I shame you. So that's a different one. Is a perception, and obviously
the action towards.
Yes, that's the discrimination.
Right. So one can be viewed as a certain prejudice that a person has, like the stigma. People are placed in a certain category, or they are viewed in a particular way, or there's a particular perception about them. For example, an effeminate man, a girly man, as we will say, is viewed as being anti-man. But yet, it's a stigma because that is the perception that we have. But there are many men who are not effeminate and who are not girly and who are
gay. And that's why people need to be informed. People, as you said, people may exhibit some characteristics of a female. It could be a genetic deformity in terms of they having extra X chromosome. You understand? So that's the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they act, and all of that stuff could be, but their mindset is not. And as such, you might just have a perception of what you think they are, and then you start treating them a certain way, which is absolutely wrong. And as you stated, some persons can be all macho, strong, and buff, and all we say, as we could say, but they are not. There's no proof whatsoever, as we say. But that's why my own perception and my own ideology of life, I don't have no room to judge. You be you until you show me what you are. So I cannot say this is black if I'm seeing white. I cannot say, well, this is black, this is white if I'm seeing black. So I don't go around looking whether this is white or this is black. As I drink water and mind business as much as I can. It's very important. When I get hydrated, I keep hydrating.
I think that we are focusing on the wrong thing, and here is where we get sidetracked. We need to forget who they are and look at the activity that is being done, and then you will see that there is really no need to discriminate. Let me come home a little more. We speak of the men who have sex with men. they are most at risk for HIV. It's not because of who they are, it is simply because of what they do,
Mm-hmm.
which is anal sex. And heterosexual couples engage in the very same act, which puts them at risk also. You see where I'm coming from? The sex workers, it is not really who they are, but what puts them at risk is the fact that they have multiple partners. And that happens in society.
Promiscuity.
Right.
Mhm.
And not even that. Even if you are someone who has one partner, if your partner has three partners, then
You are also a risk.
you then are viewed as having multiple partners as well.
Yes.
So we need to
To your very
come away
association.
Yeah.
from who they are and focus on the activity, and we realize that all of us would fit
In that
right into that
category,
bracket.
yes, everybody in that
All of us
category,
become
we
key
have a view,
populations.
a different view from what the perception we have. Because most time it's just perception.
It's perception.
Sometimes people have not even spoken to you, but have a
They
perception
just
of
look
you,
at
and
you and
this,
they judge you and they
So
size you up and there's all kinds
it's
of
good
things.
that we have a view, not just a view, but have an understanding, so we can make well-informed decision, not only for ourselves but also for everybody that is around us.
Right. But how can we tackle this problem? I mean, how can we tackle it? Give me some ways in which we can tackle this problem.
Well, I would like to start by saying I'm starting with a man in the mirror. One principle that I operate by is I treat others as I would
Treat you.
like to be treated.
That's the golden rule.
Yes. And so I start right there. And then education, as we are doing and we will continue to do, because at the heart of stigma and discrimination, you would realize that sometimes it boils down to ignorance. People don't know much and they don't know how it's transmitted, and they think that they understand, but when you hear them speak, they wouldn't buy food from somebody who is HIV positive and they treat them a certain way. So, continued education. And then we need a holistic view and fights from different angles. As we said, it's everybody's business. So the church has a role to play. For it is the very same Bible that says that we should love everybody.
Yes.
I think a multi-sectoral, as you stated, a multi-sectoral
Approach.
approach is the way forward. The schools, the business places, the churches, the government parastatals, everybody is needed.
But you forgot
Everybody is
a very
needed.
important one, the one that is the foundation,
What's that?
the family.
The
The family.
That's right. And why I said
Charity.
I didn't
Because
mention.
it is in the family
Mhm.
that people should really learn first about sex and be taught about it. Not in the sense that, the practice, but parents should speak to their children about that. Tell them about their bodies. But sometimes what you see displayed outside of the home is because of what is not taught in the home, and people in the home not being comfortable to talk about their sexuality, to talk about sex and all of this.
Yes.
It's kind of
Yes.
taboo.
Yes.
And so they go outside, and sometimes
Yes.
people in the home as well cannot say, well, mommy, guess what?
Yes.
I like this girl. Or mommy, guess what? I like this boy. Or a girl saying, you know what? I like this girl. I have feelings for this girl. You will get a slap.
And if you look at it, right, you're actually right. Charity begins at home, but based on my assessment, my experience, I've come to realize that you can only give what you have. If a teenager that is 16 gets pregnant and become a mother, what does she have to offer? And if a mother was 16 or 15 when she gave birth to her, and she's not still informed, what does she have to offer? You mentioned a family. Why? Because I bracket the family to be under school.
I know,
You
but still
understand?
the discussion on the home, I think, Dr. Offrey, is still very, very important. I know today we have internet and so on,
Access to it.
and access, and people go on. Home is where you learn this is right and
Pillar
wrong.
of
The home
society.
is where you should feel accepted and loved
Yeah.
for who you are. And
So the
sometimes
principal instill.
because you may have a different sexual orientation, or your father see that you're sort of leading in a particular way, you're treated with scorn in the home. And as you correctly said in the beginning, some parents actually put their children out.
Yeah.
And how would we be able to reach them if they are not with us? So, we should try and be more like God. And that should be our aim every day. We embrace them in love, and it is love that changes people.
And yeah, and in schools and churches, we need to be open, because with that, people can feel we can talk. Like I am foreseeing to a point. I'm seeing to a point where we can have both meetings and sections, training or little workshop with teachers and parents, educating them on this. And we have section we have with students, which we've been having with students. You understand? We've been going to schools, different schools. It's one of the things we have been doing is prayer for this World AIDS Day. We've been going to different schools, educating the young people about what HIV is, how it can be transmitted, how it can be prevented, and give them opportunity for them to ask us questions for us to really, help give them clarity on things. Because some of those, they can't even ask their parents home. You understand? Instead that your boys are at home somehow. You understand? So the parents may not even have the answer for that because they don't even know themselves. So we having a session with parents and teachers, parent teachers association, whatever they have, in schools, we have the opportunity to really talk to them. And that's why we say the multi-sectoral approach, where we can work with the Ministry of Education, we can work with Ministry of Gender Affairs, we can work with Ministry of Youth Development, and so on and so forth. And every other person, to ensure that everybody is carried along to really, for the fight, for us to tackle stigma and discrimination, for us to tackle the virus at the end of the day and keep our country free. And if you look at it, the goal is to ensure that we eradicate HIV infection, continued infection in 2030. And we have to start now. 2030 is not far away from 20.
And all that we are saying, give people the space to feel free,
Yes.
to access the service, to protect themselves. One such group that is stigmatized is the young people. People tend to be very harsh with young people. Oh, you should not be involved in this and go to school and learn. Yet, we have given them the permission at 16. So the age of consent is 16. Yet they are not able to access services until they are 18.
So the law needs to really be aligned.
And
Yep.
And bring.
So this is what we are doing. Doctor, you want her to tell them what's happening on the 25th?
Yes, we have the young people, the scanners. They will be debating on age of consent.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is very vital. We have to look at the primary. We have to tackle this from the primary, so before we go to the secondary aspect. Because if we say, okay, yes, you can now be engaged, you're smart enough, or you're wise, or adult, you're an adult now to make decision to be involved sexually. So why can't they have the access to prevention of infection? Like HIV and other STIs, and pregnancy at the end of the day. So why not we align it to say, you know what, you can now go and do tests on your own HIV, you can now go and get condom to use, and so on and so forth. Because I am telling you, the young people are so much at risk, and we are seeing that it's increasing. And unfortunately, by the time they're 18 already to assess, it has migrated from HIV to AIDS.
Yeah.
Doctor, don't tell them. Let them listen.
So, yes, thank you for that. I will not give more information on that. So, if you want to hear more tomorrow, which is the 25th, ensure that you tune in and listen to the young people, how they debate on this topic, how they can, go at it and say, you know what, yes, I'm for this, no, I'm not for it. That will create that thought, that will stimulate and agitate a thinking process in you to like why we need to align everything to ensure that it's actually we are tackling this thing from the grassroots, from the foundation, the primary aspect health-wise.
Right. So, what else do you have planned for this year's campaign? Apart from this Parliament and the timely topic, what do you have planned
We
for the
have
campaign this year?
we want to have a condom day, which will be
The
National Condom Day, which will be on the 1st of December at the square. We have a tent there giving condoms and also educating and sensitizing people on how to properly use it. It's not how you can buy a car. If you don't know how to drive the car, you predispose yourself to accident. So we will educate on how to properly use it and be safe in using it, so it will be there available. All right, so come by on the first, come by the Independence Square and get your condom for free, and ensure that that day, whatever sex activity you're gonna involve in, ensure to use condom.
Protected.
All right, ensure to use condom. Let it be protected. Okay, ensure to use condom. Just commemorate that day and all that that day stands for. And then we also gonna be having National Testing Day. National Testing Day, and that will be on the 15th of December. And it's in Independence Square in the same place. So come out, in fact, we'll have giveaways. All right, come out and get tested. Come out and have some free gifts as well. Come out, tell your friends, tell your family members, just come out and get tested. All right, it is free, it's available, it's accessible, and we are there to really educate you. In fact, I will be there to educate you on all of this information. So I definitely hope to see you, everybody there, everybody, male, females, come. We're there waiting on you. Okay.
And we have a message that should be read in all churches. The 26th and the 27th and the 2nd and 3rd of December, and that is involving the church in the whole idea of equality. Then we have the school campaign. We are tackling the high schools with this year. So we have been doing some sessions with the young people during school time and out of school time. We have been meeting with key populations, ensuring that their voices are heard and that we are providing them with the commodities that are needed to prevent themselves from being infected as well.
And also, like in CLB, we'll be having a session with CLBC, young people coming up, with this carnival coming up, and they can trust me. It creates room for recklessness. I'm not saying it's an avenue to be reckless, but some people can get reckless in this setting. So we want to keep now informing, advising, and also educating them so they can make wise decisions and ensure And yes, we partner with the carnival community, so we will be available in all the carnival sessions. All the activities will be available, so we will be there. All right, providing condoms and also educating and also giving some free gifts as well. All right, so we hope to see you there as well. And as well, we'll be on Freedom FM, will be on Win FM. We also be talking on different aspects. We also be having a meeting, session where we'll be talking on. We will emphasize on stigma and discrimination, and give you opportunity to call in and ask a question about HIV, and ask a question about stigma and discrimination, and ask a question about everything that has to do with infectious diseases here. We can all work together as a nation to really combat and eradicate HIV in totality.
Well, I want to thank you. Thank you, Lucine, and thank you, Dr. Offrey.
Thanks for having us.
And HIV, AIDS, you began by saying it. It is our responsibility to eradicate it and to be more aware and to reduce stigma and discrimination where it is concerned. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So it takes takes me, and it takes you, and you out there to really fight HIV and overcome HIV on or before 2030. All right? Thank you guys so much for hearing us. Thank you so much for assessing us. And also, before I forget, you can actually do your test in all the health centers. All right? You can also come to the HIV Secretariat and ask for Dr. Offrey or ask for Miss Lucine Vaughan we can get you tested and also provide commodities to you. At from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can always come, and they will be there to assist you as much as possible. So please, don't be shy. Don't hold back. Keep your health as a top priority, and I believe that together we can achieve success in eradicating HIV. Thank you so
That's
much.
right.
Thank you very much.